Alrighty, peace and love, everybody. This is Salvatore Swain. Thank you very much for joining this masterclass. I'm going to run you through what would be a consultation with the EAV biofeedback machine. I'm going to run through a few clinical protocols in addition to answer some of the most important questions while doing an assessment on a client, in addition to a look inside of my clinical brain, also my bioenergetic method, because every single client will be different. Every single patient will have different things that you need to prioritize. And the beautiful thing is that you have a machine and functional data to back you up. And nothing else feels better than that, because you have a direction of where to get to the root cause. And that's the goal, is to uncover as much as you can the root cause. And so, or rather optimize your clients. If you're dealing with professional athletes or people who are high performance people, they may be fine, but there are techniques to be able to drive the system into hormesis, to be able to stress the system out enough to push it to their next level instead of plateauing on the health journey. So I'm going to run through a few basic things. In addition to that, I'm going to go over the interface of the software because I think it's pretty badass. You are considering getting a machine as a method of assessment. I highly encourage you to consider it. Although this isn't the only way you can assess someone's biofeedback or biometrics, I think it's one of the more direct tools for getting people better. In addition to that, the system, the physical energetics medica, in addition to the bioenergetic method and system with the bioscan from IHT, I really think is the full scale package to be able to get someone better. And honestly, a way better methodology than current modern Western medical practices currently. As we know, general healthcare practitioners, you come into their office, they ask you a few questions, and then you're out the door with a prescription. As we know, that model is becoming more and more ineffective. We need more effective methods to be able to deal with the polysystemic healing conditions of the human. If we are not able to address the multiple layers of the body, the mental body, the vital body, the emotional body, and the systemic body, how will we ever become whole? And that's the goal, right? Is to really optimize the system. You only have one body. You have one set of organs, you have one brain, you have one heart. Some of us get the opportunity to have more, but obviously that comes with a lot of downsides, right? So we want to prolong life and live on this earth as optimally as possible, in addition to just having a clean system, right? I can't even stress to you the importance of the need for a healthy mind and a healthy body. I personally have been affected on both sides of the family with generational trauma, with addiction, mental health disorders. And a lot of this work has helped me put myself further away from that. So if you are looking to optimize your health, your vitality, your organs, your systemic health, in addition to your family, along with clients, and this is just one way to do it. So without further ado, I'm just going to go over briefly the interface. As we see on the left-hand side, we have our point list. This is where we'll test the meridians, and I'll go through a flow of how I move through the meridians and what I test for first, and I'll take a second to describe all of that to you. On the right-hand side is where the plots and the data will be pointed based off of the reading. As you can see here down below, this is the name of the point. And down here on the right-hand side, it is the actual measurement of the meridian reading. This is the amplitude of the scale that Dr. Vol had created. Probably created this pole back in the 40s. Pretty awesome. Just give me 1 second. Alrighty. So if someone comes to me, the first thing that I'm doing is asking them a plethora of questions to be able to really absorb a person's energy you really need the data from them first. Now, humans are tricky because we have an ego that will convince us and to not communicate all the details to the practitioner. And so what I do is I have an assessment sheet where I go over about 4 to 5 different quadrants of things. One of the quadrants being current symptomology. I want to know what's going on inside of that human, where they're having issues, what are they feeling? Are they is there something emergency going on? What is the current symptoms that they're experiencing? So after I know that information, I'm going to ask them about lifestyle stuff, their diet, their hydration levels, their sleep, how they deal with stress, their work environment, where they live. Sometimes I ask them how much they weigh. Sometimes I ask them their zodiac sign. Sometimes I ask them a bunch of random stuff, right? Just to get the information from them to see who am I dealing with. Because you really want to get to know this person, right? That's the beautiful thing about the difference of sitting with a practitioner like this, opposed to you going to a general healthcare practitioner. They ask you 2, 3 questions, and then you're on your way out the door with a prescription that really just hugs the symptoms of your root cause, right? I like to get to know my clients and my patients as best as I can. And also so I can know if they're BSing me or not. It's another reason why I ask them questions. And I invite them to go deeper because sometimes, like I said, we have coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms, rather, to be able to shield ourselves up from the truth. So this another quadrant that I'm asking them is if they have any medications, if they're on any medications right now. It's super important for you to ask that, along with other surgeries, if they have dental fillings, mercury fillings, if they have any history with UTIs. If it's a woman, I'm asking her about her cycle, how her endocrine system is. Is it regular? Is it spotty? Is it heavy? Is it light? Et cetera, et cetera. I'm asking them about Botox. I'm asking them about their relationship to EMF. How much EMF exposure do you have on a day-to-day basis? Do you sleep next to your phone? Do you live next to a 5G tower? Do you sleep next to the router, etc.? Those kind of things, because EMF is super important too. And I'll describe why throughout the test. And a bunch of other questions that will come up randomly if I ask them. Usually what I'm trying to do is pull out as much data as I can from this person, right? So that way I can correlate that data with the biometrics that I receive from the test. And then with that, I'll have enough information to be able to suggest different protocols, dietary patterns, detox methodologies, and lifestyle changes. So once I have that information, I'm going to dive right into the test. And so one of the first things that I'm checking for from a clinical perspective is the client's conductivity. Conductivity is the bioelectrical flow of energy from the heart and the brain to the rest of the body. So another word for it is prana or chi or life force, or your aura is another word for it. And so with this information, I'll be able to see how effectively their heart and brain are dealing with the human, right? Because ultimately, that's what's creating your electromagnetic field. The range that I'm looking for when I'm testing for conductivity is between 75 and 85. Anything below that is a clear indication of too much stress, not enough electrolytes and hydration, maybe an overgrowth of yeast, mold, or candida, heavy metals. Anything above 85 is a bioenergetic disturbance, meaning it may be something very in the higher bodies, in the chakra bodies, mental, emotional, generational trauma or grief, or too much stimulation, too much EMF, those kind of things, right? So we'll see. I'm interested to see where I am because usually I've been testing myself pretty often, and I've been getting steady results. And so you'll get a look into, I like to say that the EAV is like a microscope for the biology, and I'll let you in on how I'm doing. And how I plan to solve what I'm doing, right? So let's test for conductivity. So again, the client would hold these two probes, and then what we'll do is we'll take the non-invasive stylus and we'll touch the top of the machine, the probe. All right, I'm gonna do that one more time. As you can see on the bottom right-hand side, my max is 79. It means that my conductivity is good. So if this was a test, then I aced it because my conductivity is right in between 75 and 85, right? So this means that the brain and the heart are effectively communicating electrical currents to the rest of the body efficiently. You can infer that I'm hydrated. You can infer that I'm emotionally stable, along with some other things. But just because someone's conductivity is good doesn't necessarily mean that they're healthy. Okay? So we'll see why. Right? So the next thing that I'm going to test for is biotoxicosis. Biotoxicosis is the body's ability to deal with a toxic load. And so there's three phases. The lymphatic system is responsible for dealing with inflammation and toxins left over in the body. The lymphatic system has a fluid called lymph that flows through dozens of lymph nodes all around the body. So it's pretty cool. The last time I tested myself, I was in LY1, meaning that my system is acute, meaning that my lymphatic system is good. And also meaning indicating that I get to push my lymphatic system to the next level, meaning that it's a good time to start using more homeopathics and some of the more botanical drainage spagyrics to be able to really pull out some of the deeper layers of healing of heavy metals, vaccines, and really work on the viral chain of the human to continue to clean the DNA and the helix and to, clean some of the deeper stored trauma and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting. So we're gonna test LY1 and I'm gonna see how my lymphatic system is. As you can see, we are testing LY1 point, which is right there on the thumb. Typically, when we're dealing with the lymphatic system, we're going to be testing that thumb, right? Right. So look, LY1 is good. It means that my lymphatic system is working well. So just to give you an indication of if someone was in LY2 or in LY3, it means that they have work to do. I like to describe the lymphatic system like this. If, for example, a house, when it rains, it has gutters. The gutters are like the drainage system for the garbage that gets, and the fluid that gets drained on top of the house. If your gutters are clogged, then the fluid in the gutters are going to get stuck. And I know this because I clean my family's gutters pretty often, at least a couple times a season. And so the water will get stuck. And so the gutters won't be able to properly drain. So that's the whole kind of ideology around the lymphatic system is if your body is not draining, you need to focus on that first. So typically every protocol, you want to have some kind of lymphatic remedy. You don't always have to use homeopathics. You could use botanical spagyrics, andrographis, dandelion, burdock, variety of other botanical spagyrics that you can use to help clean the liver and filter out lymphatic fluid, right? The next thing that we are going to test for is left spin. Left spin is a more physics concept that the Western medical community fails to recognize. However, in bioenergetic medicine, it is one of the most important things that we test for. The reason being is because as above, so below. If everything in the universe has a spin, right? Another word for it is polarity. Everything is spinning. So your electromagnetic field or your heart creates a torsion field or a toroidal field, sort of like the shape of a donut, right? It's almost like a funnel where energy comes in and energy comes out. It's like the infinity sign. Energy comes in, energy comes out. The polarity, testing your polarity is a good sign to see if your energy is off. Are you on the spin or are you off the spin? Because if you're off the spin, then we have to rebalance your polarity. And before we begin to do that, or excuse me, before we begin to dig deeper into the mesenchyme or deeper traumatic emotional stuff, we want to make sure that you are at baseline, that your cells are spinning. And so the below aspect to it is if you are in left spin, your cells can't receive hydration and nutrition optimally. They can't communicate with one another, and they can't detox effectively. So we want you in right spin. So clinically, the way I've been taught, there's a few ways that you can test polarity. However, with this machine and this system, the way that I've been taught is to test the endocrine meridian right there on that ring finger. And what you'll do is, if you are using the physical kit, you'll put the left spin vial, which is actually a toxin, on the plate, on the testing plate. And the testing plate acts as an extension as I'm hooked up to the probe of my body, right? So what we want to do is we want to test this meridian to see how reactive it is. If it's reactive, it's good. We want it to be reactive. We want it to be as close to 75 and 80 as possible, because that means the endocrine system is responding to the poison. If you test below 75, it means you're in left spin. Generally, I'll get to that point in a second. Let's test my left spin point. Ready? There you go. I aced it. So again, I tested 80 on the Vol scale between 75 and 85. This is a clear indication that my cells are spinning to the right, or rather, they're spinning in the proper direction for me to receive hydration, nutrition, for them to communicate effectively with one another, and most importantly, for them to detox. And that's important, because if the intracellular matrix of the cell cannot detox, then you're going to end up with overflow of toxins inside of the cell and inside of the blood and inside of the tissues and then inside of the muscles, et cetera, et cetera. If someone wasn't in left spin, what we would do is we would put a remedy on the plate. And according to Physica and what I've been trained with, they have about 10 right spinning remedies. Some of the top remedies for right spin is fluorocentrapy, which is a probiotic. And generally, most people's microflora inside of their gut is off. And this throws them off. This throws their polarity off. So obviously, chronic left spin is a thing, because then you start to develop a low vibe or a low frequency parasites, and your microflora will eventually become damaged. And so in order to nip this in the bud, you want to give yourself a right spinning probiotic, right? Other remedies that help with that is bile cell salt, methyl B12, green light, spectralite, heart song, metabolic tox, and a few others, all right? Alrighty. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do a basic overview of the organs. So basically what I wanna do now is I wanna test my organs to see where am I reading, right? And so what I can do, if I wanted to, is I can put a remedy on the plate because I am hydrated, I'm in right spin, and my lymphatic system is good. So now I can start to push the system harder. Based off of my initial readings and my overall screen, I could basically create a protocol diving deeper into the next layer of the mesenchyme, right? Right. So we're basically just gonna go through the flow. Looks like my lung meridian is fine. Large intestine meridian is fine. We're gonna test the nervous system. Keep in mind, I just did some psychedelics last night. Oops. Make sure this point is high. Oh, I'm actually on the wrong one. I drank ayahuasca this past weekend, along with doing a little microdose of psilocybin mushrooms last night. So we're going to see how my nervous system is. Won't be surprised if it's a little stressed. All right, I'm gonna give myself one more reading. All right, so still good, still good. Alrighty, we're gonna move on to circulation, onto that ring finger, or excuse me, that middle finger. Looks like my circulation is a little bit high. This is always my favorite and most interesting is the lower toxicity point. So in this point, lower toxicity point, this is where we can see a little bit about microbials, heavy metals, how the lower chakras are doing as well, more so like solar plexus chakra down. And this is where we can pick up on people's willpower, um, their ability to do things in their life, their sense of responsibility and ego, stuff like that. So it looks like my lower toxicity point is good, at least for now. Right? I might go back and I might throw some remedies on the plate and maybe try to get a little deeper into this protocol for myself because I'm overdue for a little challenge. Looks like that toxicity point was a little stressed. Let's move on. Alrighty. Okay. Oh, my cellular metabolism point is stressed. Right? It goes to see I am not perfect, right? At all times, we are changing. And so your lifestyle, your diet, your hydration levels all have to be accommodated daily and reconciled. Because if not, I have a saying that the bill always comes due. Oh, it looks like my endocrine point is testing pretty good. Did I test this one already? Yeah, I tested that one. That was my left spin. Oh, let's test the heart chakra. Looks like my heart chakra is a little weak. Interesting. Alrighty. We're going to test the small intestine meridian point. Sometimes I use the term meridian or chakra or organ interchangeably. I mean, they are different, but all connected, right? There's no closed circuits, no empty space, right? So the body is all connected. All right. So with that said, we're going to take a look at my biorep analysis and see. The cool thing about this software is that the software will basically prioritize the healing and what to focus on. So this is my P chart. It's going to show you the status of every meridian that we just tested. And I do have some stress meridians, as we can see. When you're overlooking an analysis like this, you want to focus on the red points first. So as you can see here, my nervous system was good, my lungs were good, surprise. Uh, but my heart valve was a little weak. My digestive system, I think that was what was that? I'm not sure what point that was. I think it was the small intestine, maybe, or large intestine, one of them. Tested a little red. And then as we scroll down, you can see my circulation a little bit stressed. This was my conductivity. This was my something. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember. Cellular metabolism, a little stress, and then my one endocrine point was a little stressed. And then I had my upper toxicity point, which is the just above the solar plexus chakra, up lungs, and it makes sense because I'm a smoker. So I smoke pretty often, and so this is telling me, based off of this analysis and data already, I can see, well, I might have more middle chakra, middle body chakra, my heart, my lungs, my throat. Something is going on within that area that may be compromising my optimal health, right? Which is fine, right? But this may be a compromise of lifestyle and different things like that. So the Q chart points to, excuse me, the top 5 or top 10 meridians that you want to focus on first. And obviously, like I said before, we want to focus on the meridians that tested red. And so we have our heart valve point that tested. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and balance that first. It doesn't seem to be moving, but I'm going to go and grab this, and then maybe we'll put something on the plate. We'll put a heart song on the plate, and then we'll retest that heart chakra. No, that's not the point that I want to focus on. I'll go here, that point. I'm going to go over to my heart valve meridian, and I'm going to test my heart again, and then see what remedy is the best and most suitable for me to rebalance my heart. Obviously, the heart being one of the most important organs in the body. This is heart song. My heart was a little weak, so we want to see what is going to balance me out. I'm going to test that again. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to switch into pulse readings so we could keep both the data of pre and post readings. Oh, so it looks like for my heart meridian, heart song milieu was the homeopathic that balanced me out. What I'm learning about the homeopathics is that homeopathics are interesting because they're all about sending signals. So heart song, from what I understand about it, it is a flower. It's a flower homeopathic that carries the frequencies of a bunch of different flowers. And so with this, the flowers will help signal to the heart to relax or calm down. And so what I can infer from this is that, yeah, it could be my smoking, and it could be something behind the smoking, meaning the deeper anxiety or emotional stress or stress overall, typically most of the time is stress, that may cause certain lifestyle choices that then result in systemic issues. And so this will help me heal the relationship of my chakra, of my heart chakra, to help deal with the anxiety, so that way I won't make a lifestyle choice that affects the heart. Right? So with that said, now that I have one meridian balanced, I'm going to go over to my lower toxicity point. I'm going to retest this point in post reading, and then I'm going to test for a few different sensitivities. All right. So my lower toxicity point is balanced. What I'm going to go do is I'm going to go over to my custom library tab, and I'm going to go over to this overall screen profile. That's going to test my magnesium levels, zinc, caffeine, hydrochloric acid, some of the more specific things that I'm looking for to be able to address more specific lifestyle, detox, diet, environment, stress, that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to retest the lower toxicity point right there on the ring finger. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw lymph 1 on the plate too. Let's just see how this tests. Oh, before I do that, I have to do this. Put the device in the SRT mode. Interesting. Zinc levels are good. Or excuse me, magnesium levels are good. Zinc is good. Uh-oh. Little resistance to caffeine. A little low in hydrochloric acid. It's funny because my digestive system has been great. A little low in pancreatin. Little candida. I'm gonna test that again. I'm gonna get the best reading. Alrighty. Alrighty. So based off of this analysis, it's looking like my magnesium levels are good, zinc is good, slight resistance to caffeine, low hydrochloric acid, a little bit of candida. Everything else looks pretty good. Everything else looks pretty good. So with that information, I can infer that I need to rebalance microflora, maybe need to be taking a probiotic, in addition to probably doing some more detoxes and antifungal diet to rebalance the levels of yeast mold, or rather yeast and candida fungus inside of my microflora, so that way I can optimally, at least my digestive system can function optimally, right? Doesn't mean that just because it's good doesn't mean that it can't get better, right? So it's levels, right? Well, so I'm a pretty healthy individual, and so we want to really stress the system, test it out, and see what's good. So in the post reading, we're going to go back to the Q chart. We already balanced out the heart. We're going to go to that lower toxicity point, and we're going to see what we can do to balance it out, right? We're going to test something basic. We're going to go for, actually, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to try to do something a little deeper, something like olive leaf intrinsic, and see how my system reacts to that. All right, we're in post readings. We're going to test it out. I'm going to test that one more time. Cool. It looks like that we're balanced. So olive leaf intrinsic. All right, my endocrine overall, that was my connectivity, but we know that endocrine system was balanced. Let's focus on the circulation point now. Looks like my circulation was a little too high, or stressed, rather. And I think what this is giving me clues into is my root cause, right? My root cause being, smoking, psychedelics, and that kind of stuff, and compromising the blood flow in my heart. Could be something emotional as well, but it also can be something in my my upper and lower toxicity point. So I have upper toxicity, my circulation's off, and my heart valve was off. So this is giving, I know where to focus on now. You know what I mean? Heart chakra and up. Pretty cool. So I mean, just with that information, I have enough to build a 4 or 5 remedy protocol that really addresses all of my layers, my lymphatic system, my digestive system, now my energetic system with the heart song, being able to support the heart in dealing with emotional things and stress and et cetera, et cetera. I also know that I was low in methyl B12, or rather hydrochloric acid. So we know a zinc or a bioavailable form of B12 is good to help rebalance that. So I have this at home along with a couple other of these remedies, which I should probably begin to take. Right? For me, I like to consistently use different maintenance product like BioCell Salt, Spectralite, Flora. Methyl B12 is one of those products that I'm on and off with, but I now know that I have to use a lot more of it. Methyl B12 is also folate, which is folic acid is what transports the minerals and nutrition through the I believe it's the umbilical cord inside of the womb. It's one of the more essential minerals that you need, fulvic acid, and it also helps in creating healthy hydrochloric acid. And another thing that methyl B12 does is it helps you methylate. And methylation is the process that happens in every single cell. And it is the on and off switch of the genetics. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, a lot of people talk about this too. I believe Dr. Brockenshire, Andrew Huberman, and a few other. There's some good podcasts about methylation and some good books out there. Dr. Fitzgerald talks about it, I believe, in her book. very, very important because some people may have genetic predispositions that don't allow them to methylate. And this could be something to want to look into, because if your genetics and genome can't turn off the switch of a cancer cell, then you're looking at some really problematic issues down the line, right? So methyl B12 is to continuously help the maintenance of all of those things that I just described. Methylation also helps with fat, detoxing fat, like I said, genetics, and hydrochloric acid as well. So with that, I mean, I could go deeper, but I have 4 or 5 remedies on the plate. If I wanted to, I could throw a flora in there to support the gut bacteria. So I really only need to order, I have a couple of these remedies already. I really only need to order 2 or 3 of these remedies to be able to approach this protocol. During this protocol, I'll probably want to eat more antifungal, which is staying away from complex carbohydrates that will help feed the unbalanced levels of candida and fungus inside of the digestive tract. In order to do that, I just eat heavy fats, proteins, meat. I would fast accordingly, try to stay away from more, fake sugars, processed foods, and things like that. Wine, even alcohol, probably try to stay away from if I'm trying to optimally do this, right? Obviously, we're human. We all have life to live and lifestyles that, you know, a little, we all like to have fun, right? Go out there, be a human, but take care of your human as well, right? So with that being said, I'm going to preview my report, and then I'm going to go over it to see what it looks like. I'm going to put this down now. Alrighty, so we're going to preview this report. Here's where you can see the base readings. I love this report. It's actually pretty cool. Here you can see the base readings. My lymphatic was good, large intestine, nervous system was good, circulation was stressed. Allergies, one of my allergy points, my lower toxicity point was good, but then my upper allergy point was stressed. Cellular metabolism stressed, endocrine system was good, small intestine good, lungs good, the lymphatic system was good. That other lymphatic point was my testing for left spin, and then my heart valve was stressed, or excuse me, weak. All right, so on to the next. This is the more balanced meridians. So I took the top 3 meridians that were unbalanced, the heart, circulation, and the allergy point, and I balanced them out with the different remedies on the plate. So you can see those remedies are balanced. This is my Q chart, which the software shows me which top 10 meridian points we should focus on first. So obviously, in this consultation, I needed to prioritize my heart valve and upper chakra stuff, right, as we already spoke about. Here is my P chart, which shows me just more of the data and where to focus on more, just like the Q chart. This is my overall screen. So as you can see, pretty healthy individual, tested green for a lot of different things. The red means that there's some kind of sensitivity. So is candida, low hydrochloric acid, and that was pretty much all that came up. Pretty healthy individual. So that is pretty much it. With this, I would punch this out and provide the client support around dieting, nutrition, detox, lifestyle, all stuff that works in conjunction with one another. Western medicine tries to separate the body, and they try to isolate the different healing mechanisms and just treat the symptoms. But we know that that's not medicine. Well, to an extent it is, because emergency medicine is still very important in this modern day world. For example, I can't do a surgery for you. Something hurts in your body, I can't give you MRI on your different part of your body if you broke a bone. I can't do that kind of stuff. But what I can do is prevent from a lot of the systemic stuff from happening and use this tool as a microscope underneath of the biology. So that way you can continue to optimize your health, your sex, your longevity. So thank you for joining me for this webinar. More to come in the bioenergetic medicine repertory. And thank you very much for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.